Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about showing off, chasing approval, or trying to prove your worth to others. Real confidence is calm. It's steady. What does it mean to be truly confident? Is it about being the loudest voice in the room, the one who commands attention through force and volume? Is it about constantly proving yourself, showcasing your achievements, or making sure everyone knows your worth? If you think any of these answers are correct, then you've been sold a lie about what confidence really is. Real confidence doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it certainly doesn't beg for validation. Real confidence is quiet. It's calm. It's that steady, almost invisible force that makes people stop and take notice without you ever having to demand their attention. And here's what most people never understand. The highest form of confidence isn't about what you show the world. It's about what the world can't take from you. Think about the people you genuinely respect. Not the ones who try the hardest to impress you, but the ones who simply carry themselves with a certain presence. They don't over-explain. They don't constantly seek approval. They don't react to every criticism or challenge thrown their way. They just exist in a space of certainty that feels almost magnetic. What makes them different? They've learned something most people spend their entire lives running from. They've learned to react to nothing. Now, let me ask you something. How often do you find yourself reacting to things throughout your day? Someone criticizes you and immediately you feel the urge to defend yourself. Someone questions your decision and you launch into a lengthy explanation. Someone disrespects you and your blood boils, your emotions take over, and you respond from a place of hurt rather than strength. Every single time you react this way, you're giving away a piece of your power. You're handing control of your emotions, your energy, and your peace to someone else. And the more you do this, the weaker you become. But what if you could change that? What if you could reach a point where nothing shakes you, nothing provokes you, and nothing controls you? That's not just a fantasy. That's a skill you can build. And when you build it, you don't just appear confident, you become untouchable. Let's start with something most people do without even thinking about it. Over-explaining themselves. Have you noticed how much energy you waste trying to justify your choices to people who probably don't even care that much? You're late to a meeting, and instead of simply saying thank you for waiting, you feel this overwhelming need to explain every detail. The traffic, the alarm that didn't go off, the unexpected phone call, the parking situation. By the time you're done, you've told them your entire morning story just so they won't judge you. Or think about decisions you've made. Maybe you chose a different career path, a different lifestyle, or even just a different approach to something simple. And when someone questions it, what do? You pile on reasons. You justify. You backpedal. You try to make them understand because deep down, you're seeking their approval. You want them to validate your choice so you can feel okay about it. But here's the truth that confident people understand. Your choices don't need a defense attorney. When you constantly explain yourself, you send a silent message to the world. You're saying, I need your approval to feel secure in my decisions. But when you simply state your choice and let it stand on its own, you send a much stronger message. You're saying, I don't need your permission to live my life. Imagine how powerful it feels when someone asks why you're doing something and you simply respond, because it's right for me. And then you stop. No long explanation. No justification. Just calm certainty. That's confidence. That's strength. And that's what makes people respect you, because you're not scrambling for their validation. So here's a challenge. For the next week, catch yourself every time you start to over-explain. The moment you notice yourself piling on excuses or lengthy justifications, stop. Replace it with something simple and direct. I can't make it. I've decided to go this way. That doesn't work for me. And then, here's the hardest part, be silent. Let that silence carry the weight of your confidence. At first, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel this urge to fill the space, to soften your words, to make sure they're not upset with you. But push through that discomfort. Because with practice, you'll discover something life-changing. The less you explain yourself, the stronger you feel. And more importantly, the more seriously people start to take you. Now let's talk about something even more fundamental. The voice inside your head. Before anyone else ever speaks to you, there's a conversation already happening in your mind. And that conversation is either building you up or tearing you down. Most people don't realize this, but the way you speak to yourself in private eventually shows up in how you show up in public. If your inner voice is constantly saying things like "I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, people are probably judging me," how do you think you'll walk into a room? You'll walk in nervous, hesitant, trying to make yourself as small as possible. But if your inner voice says "I can handle this, I've done harder things before, I'm exactly where I need to be," you walk into that same room completely differently. Same person, same room, but a totally different energy. The mistake most people make is waiting for external validation before they change their inner dialogue. They think once I succeed, then I'll feel confident. Once people respect me, then I'll talk to myself better. But that's backwards. You don't wait for the world to prove you're worthy. You start speaking to yourself like someone who already is worthy, and then your actions begin to match that belief. Your brain believes repetition. Whatever you repeat to yourself, over and over, becomes your truth. Tell yourself you're weak long enough and you'll shrink into that weakness. Tell yourself you're capable, strong, and steady long enough and you'll rise to meet those words. Your inner voice is like a thermostat. It sets the temperature of your confidence. If it's set low, you'll always sink back down no matter what success you achieve externally. If it's set high, you'll rise above challenges because you genuinely believe you belong at that level. So how do you master this voice? Start by paying attention to it. Throughout your day, catch those quiet thoughts you whisper to yourself. When you make a mistake, do you immediately say "I'm so stupid," or do you say "That's okay, I'll do better next time"? When you look in the mirror, are you finding every flaw, or are you acknowledging that you're showing up, you're improving, and you're worthy exactly as you are? These small moments shape everything. And I'm not talking about fake positivity here. You don't have to lie to yourself and pretend everything is perfect. Real confidence isn't about delusion. It's about speaking to yourself with strength even when things aren't perfect. Instead of saying "I can't handle this," you say "This is hard, but I'll figure it out." Instead of saying "I always fail," you say "Every setback teaches me something that makes me stronger." Here's something I want you to try. Every morning for the next 30 days, say 3 things out loud to yourself. I respect myself. I can handle anything that comes today. I don't need anyone's approval to move forward. Yes, it might feel awkward at first. You might feel silly talking to yourself. But do it anyway. Say those words every single day and watch how your body starts to carry them differently. Watch how your energy shifts in conversations. Watch how you walk into rooms with a different presence. Because here's the truth. Confidence doesn't come from other people believing in you. Confidence comes from you believing in yourself first. And that belief starts with the voice inside your head. Now, let's talk about respect. You can't build real confidence if you don't respect yourself. And I'm not talking about arrogance or thinking you're better than everyone else. I'm talking about treating yourself the way you'd treat someone you genuinely respect. Think about how you treat people you respect. You listen to them. You value their time. You trust their decisions. Now ask yourself honestly, do you treat yourself the same way? Or do you constantly criticize yourself, ignore your own needs, let people cross your boundaries, and put yourself last because deep down you don't see yourself as worthy of better? The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how the world treats you. If you don't respect your own time, others won't either. If you speak poorly to yourself, you'll tolerate others speaking to you the same way. Self-respect doesn't come from big achievements. It comes from small daily choices that tell your mind I matter. It's waking up when you said you would. It's following through on promises you made to yourself. It's walking away from situations that violate your values. Each one of these choices might seem small, but together they build something powerful inside you. They build trust in yourself. And once you trust yourself, confidence flows naturally. Respect yourself first, and the world has no choice but to adjust. You stop begging for recognition. You stop explaining your worth. You simply know it. And because you know it, others feel it. One of the biggest traps that destroys confidence is the constant need for approval. You know that feeling, right? That itch that asks, do they like me? Do they agree with me? Am I good enough in their eyes? It's subtle, but it controls so many lives. People dress not for themselves but for what others might think. They post on social media not to share but to be validated. They chase compliments and feel crushed when someone doesn't applaud them. Here's the problem with living this way. When your confidence depends on approval, it will always be fragile. Because approval can be given, and approval can be taken away. One moment people are cheering for you. The next moment they're criticizing you. And if your self-worth rises and falls with their reactions, you're living like a puppet on strings you can't control. The truth is, nobody owes you approval. And nobody's opinion should have the power to define you. When you kill the need for approval, you free yourself. You stop chasing applause and start living authentically. You stop bending your life to fit other people's expectations and start building a life that feels right to you. Think about the people you truly admire. Are they the ones trying desperately to please everyone, or are they the ones who stand firm even when people disagree? It's always the second group. Because real strength isn't in being liked by everyone. It's in being respected for standing true to yourself. Now, I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with enjoying praise or being happy when someone appreciates what you do. The problem comes when you need it. When you depend on it to feel valuable. The moment you depend on external validation, you hand over your power. You give other people the remote control to your emotions. And people change channels fast. So how do you kill this need? Start practicing small acts of independence. Say no without explaining why. Make decisions based on what you know is right for you, even if others won't understand. Remind yourself daily that their approval is optional, but your self-respect is not. You'll notice something interesting when you stop chasing approval. At first, some people won't like it. They might call you arrogant or selfish. But stay steady. Because over time, those same people will begin to respect you more than they ever did when you were bending over backwards for their acceptance. Why? Because people might enjoy it when you seek their approval, but they admire it when you don't need it. Let me tell you about one of the greatest signs of true confidence. It's not how loud you can be. It's how quiet you can remain. Most people think strength is about having the last word, about showing everyone how smart or sharp they are. But real strength is often the opposite. It's the ability to stay calm, stay silent, and not get pulled into every emotional battle. Think about how many people lose their power because they couldn't stay quiet. Someone criticizes them and they snap back. Someone disrespects them and they explode. Someone challenges them and they rush to defend themselves. In those moments, they think they're showing strength, but really they're showing that their emotions are in control. And when your emotions control you, your power is gone. Silence, on the other hand, is disarming. When people expect a reaction and you give them nothing, they don't know how to handle it. They push and you don't move. They attack and you stay steady. That's what makes silence powerful. It shows you're not easily shaken, that you can't be manipulated. Now, silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you choose your responses carefully. You refuse to waste energy on pointless battles. When you respond with silence instead of raw emotion, you buy yourself time to think. You give yourself space to decide if the situation even deserves your attention. Imagine someone trying to provoke you. Maybe they insult you in front of others, expecting you to blow up. Most people would take the bait. But if you stay calm, if you look at them and simply choose silence, suddenly the spotlight shifts. They start to look foolish, not you. Why? Because you've shown that their words didn't penetrate. You've shown that you're in control. There's another benefit to this. When you speak less but with calm authority, people listen more carefully. They know you don't waste words. They know if you're speaking, it matters. That's how real leaders communicate. Not with volume, but with weight. Your body language speaks before your words ever do. Before you open your mouth, people are already reading you. They see how you walk, how you stand, how you sit, how you look at them. And in just seconds, they've formed an opinion. That's the silent language of confidence, and it's often louder than anything you could say. If your words and your body language don't match, people will always believe your body. You can say I'm confident all day long, but if you're slouched over, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting nervously, nobody believes you. On the other hand, you could say very little, but if your posture is strong, your eyes steady, your movements calm, people feel your presence. What does it mean to let your body speak first? It means you walk into a room like you belong there. Shoulders back, chest open, head held high. Not in arrogance, but in quiet certainty. Your handshake is firm. Your eye contact is steady, not darting away nervously. These small signals communicate more than 1,000 words ever could. Your body also trains your mind. If you sit small, you feel small. If you carry yourself like you're hiding, your mind believes you should hide. But if you sit upright, expand your posture, and move with purpose, your mind receives a different message. I am strong. I am steady. I belong here. Here's a practical tip. The next time you walk into a room, pause for just a moment. Take a calm breath. Straighten your posture. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your head slightly. Then walk in at a steady pace. No rush. Just presence. That single adjustment changes how people see you and how you see yourself. Most people spend their lives reacting. Something happens and they respond. Someone criticizes them and they defend. Someone disrespects them and they snap. Someone praises them and they feel validated. They're constantly at the mercy of whatever comes their way. But that's not confidence. That's dependency. The person who reacts is always one step behind. They're letting the world dictate their mood, their energy, their choices. But the person who leads sets the tone. They decide the direction. They don't wait to see what happens. They create what happens. When you react to everything, people learn how to control you. They know exactly which buttons to push to get a response. But when you stop reacting, when you stay calm and steady, suddenly they lose their grip. They can't manipulate you anymore. And that's where confidence starts to look dangerous, because you've become untouchable. Leading doesn't always mean leading others. It starts with leading yourself. Choosing your actions instead of letting them be chosen for you. Setting the pace instead of trying to keep up. Asking yourself, what do I want to create here, instead of how should I respond to what just happened. Confidence isn't built in comfort zones. It's built in the uncomfortable places most people avoid. The moments that made you stronger were never the easy ones. They were the ones where you felt nervous, unprepared, maybe even afraid, but you stepped forward anyway. Most people run from discomfort. They choose what feels safe, what feels familiar, what doesn't stretch them. But if you always choose comfort, you never expand. You stay the same. You play small. And deep down, you know it. Confidence isn't about telling yourself you're strong. It's about putting yourself in situations that show you that you are. Every time you step into the unknown, you collect evidence. I can handle this. And the more evidence you gather, the more unshakable you become. Discomfort doesn't go away. But you can train yourself to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Instead of seeing discomfort as danger, start seeing it as training. Instead of running from it, lean into it. Soon what used to terrify you feels normal. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people are usually the quietest? They don't rush to fill every silence. They don't dominate conversations with endless words. Instead, they wait. They listen. And when they finally speak, everyone leans in. Most people talk too much because they're uncomfortable with silence. They're afraid if they stop speaking, they'll lose attention. So they pile on words, hoping to convince people of their worth. But the more you talk without purpose, the weaker your words become. Confidence isn't about how much you say. It's about how much weight your words carry. And the way to give your words weight is simple. Speak less, mean more. Every sentence should have intention. Every response should have calmness. Every pause should remind people you're not rushed, not desperate, not trying too hard. Silence builds anticipation. Few words delivered with clarity build authority. That's why real leaders are never the loudest voices in the room. They conserve energy and use words like a sharp blade. Precise, direct, effective. The ultimate level of confidence is living as if you need nothing. Not because you don't enjoy success or relationships, but because you're not dependent on them. When your sense of worth no longer hinges on what others give or take away, you step into a freedom most people never experience. Most people live in constant need. They need approval to feel secure. They need attention to feel important. They need results to feel proud. And because they chase. They chase validation, applause, things that slip through their hands the moment they grasp them. But imagine walking through life without that hunger for approval. Pursuing goals not because you need them to complete you, but because you choose them as expressions of who you already are. Enjoying success but not being defined by it. Having relationships built on choice, not desperation. That's what it means to live as if you need nothing. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you build yourself up so strongly on the inside that you don't crumble if external things disappear. You carry your own validation, your own peace, your own power. When you move as if you already have everything you need within yourself, you cannot be controlled. You cannot be bribed. You cannot be broken. Your confidence flows from within, not from outside circumstances. So here's what I want you to understand. Real confidence isn't loud. It isn't flashy. It doesn't beg for attention. Real confidence is calm, steady, and quiet. It's the ability to stand firm when others are shaking. To stay silent when others are shouting. To need nothing when others are desperately chasing. This journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about building yourself day by day into someone who no longer bends to every opinion, who no longer crumbles under pressure, who no longer waits for permission to step into their power. The principles are simple. Stop explaining yourself. Master your inner voice. Build self-respect through daily actions. Kill the need for approval. Respond with silence instead of emotion. Let your body speak confidence. Stop reacting and start leading. Embrace discomfort. Speak less but with more weight. And ultimately, live as if you need nothing from anyone. True confidence is quiet, but it's undeniable. It doesn't need to announce itself because it's written in how you move, how you speak, and how you carry yourself through life's storms. So take these lessons and live them. Don't just understand them in theory. Apply them in conversations, in challenges, in moments when life tries to shake you. Because when you learn to react to nothing, you gain control over everything. You become untouchable. You become steady in a world full of noise. You become someone others can't ignore, not because you demand attention, but because your presence itself commands it. That is the power of real confidence. And it's already inside you, waiting to be claimed. Now go out and live it.